Obviously, TECHUBI P2 in the championship. The person leading the championship, obviously, ELYAS in the Mercedes. Oh, a little bit of a snap there, and that is TECHUBI already with problems through Chapel and already spinning on his first lap and now powering down into Chapel. And RevRob has actually been disqualified from the session for going the wrong way. How has he done that? That was through Farm Curve, I think. I have no idea how he did that. Epic OJ coming up to the line. What can he do in that RB? And he goes into P4. Can TECHUBI steal pole off ELYAS? Up to the line. No, he can't. Can ELYAS improve on his lap time? Has that slipstream from his teammates given him anything more as he goes through the final corner up to the line? And he goes even faster. 25.0. Can Casper do anything? He's not improving up to the line and he stays P3. As Reese there goes into P3 though in the Aston Martin. But here we go to 5 red lights for the Silverstone Sprint. Mercedes on pole, McLaren right beside them, and it's going to be lights out, and away we go. Who does get the better start as we go down into Club Corner? I think TECHUBI is actually bogged down a little bit. 3 wide through Club Corner. Reese is going to try it around the outside. He's going to try the switchback on the McLaren, tries the second switchback through the second part of Vale. Can he get that move done going into Stowe? No, he can't. ELYAS already with a second lead there, as we see Noah going down the inside of Suzuki Dior there, I think. Also trying to get the move on Epic OJ as well. Going down into Chapel, and I think the Mercedes gets the move. Can he get the move on the Mercedes as well? Will Epic OJ still try and hold this down the inside going into Chapel? No, he doesn't. He will have to stay behind. But Noah goes a little bit deep there, going into the second part, into Beckett's. Can Epic OJ do anything? Going into Cop's Corner. I think he's just a bit too far back, though, to think of anything. And I think these positions are going to remain the same. And again, Supply Raptor having a few wheel issues, I do believe, maybe. But I'm not too sure. As we look further up, are there going to be any moves being made as we go down into Luffield? A little bit of a look there maybe from the Mercedes on the Ferrari. Can Epic OJ still do anything? He tries the switchback, but I just don't think he has enough power to do that going into Luffield. Noah, though, could be looking for a move on Samuel going into Aintree, but he elects to back out and doesn't go for it. A little bit of a look up there. The Ferrari does go deep, and Noah spots the mistake. He goes down the inside, around the outside. The Ferrari's still going to try and fight this down the inside, going into Village. But I don't think he's going to be able to, as I think Epic OJ might try his luck as well. Down the inside, going into Abbey, sorry. But he cannot make the move just yet. Will he look for a move down the inside into turn 2 effectively? Yes, he does. But again, he can't make it. He makes a bit of contact with Suzuki Dior. And he does, in theory, give the place back. But in doing so, Suzuki Dior loses 1 and 2 places to RevRob and also Supply Raptor. Let's ride on board with the Aston Martin. Can he go down the inside? Oh, and he does get into P2. And he is going to be the driver that separates these 2 drivers. And it's going to mean ELYAS gets a huger advantage going into, well, mainly the feature race and then in the championship as well. Again, Supply Raptor is lagging all over the place as Samuel goes a little bit deep there. Will that allow RevRob to get the move around the outside into Luffield or through Woodcut? Now into Luffield. Is the McLaren ahead? The Ferrari is going to try and fight it down the inside going into Luffield. He will have the tighter line, but into Brooklands, the McLaren will have the inside and RevRob does indeed get up into P5. Due to the Ferrari's mistake, and Supply Raptor maybe could be on with a chance here. Goes down the inside. Whether that is actually him, though, with his lagging issue, I do not know. Slightly pushes the Ferrari off. The Red Bull still holding it down the inside, going into the loop, and now into Village. Can the Ferrari reach past the Red Bull? Yes, he does, but the Red Bull looking for the switchback and now going through Farm, and both of them head into the pit lane there, and that will cancel out that attempt. Oh, as I think Samuel was pushed into the pit lane there from Supply Raptor. That's very unfortunate that he cannot get that removed, and Epic OJ as well gets a 10-second penalty as well, but very unfortunate there from the Ferrari. He cannot get that removed despite being pushed into the pit lane. Casper, though, let's see how many drivers he overtakes with the undercuts. Coming through Village, coming through Club and Vale, and he is going to be ahead of, actually he's going to be ahead of TECHUBI. Okay, I didn't even realize TECHUBI came into the pits as well, but yeah, TECHUBI behind Casper now, or TECHUBI Casper going side by side. TECHUBI finding it around the outside, going into Luffield and into Brooklands, and TECHUBI does get back into a net P2 spot. Casper down to P3, still on the podium though. Will the Aston Martin look for it though, going into Aintree? No, he doesn't. Casper will stay, but down the inside goes the Aston Martin, nearly collecting the McLaren. Can the Ferrari try and find the switchback? He doesn't through the loop into Village though, but again, just not able to get the exit speed required, and he drops down to P4. Reese, who did get the overtake on TECHUBI before the first round of pit stops, is he able to make the overtake again on TECHUBI and take P2 on track? Well, let's see. As he already goes down the inside into Woodcuts, as I've been saying that, and he already makes the move and already into a next P2 spot. Samuel picking up a 3-second time penalty going into the final few laps. So he's going to lose the place to Noah, who tries to go down the inside already into the loop, but decides to back out of that one. He does not need to get the place if Samuel has that track limit penalty. But I'll tell you one thing, Samuel, though, is getting quite close to Supply Raptor. Is he going to dive it down the inside going into the loop? No, he doesn't. Oh, maybe he does, actually. As Supply Raptor, I think, maybe went a little bit deep, and Samuel spotting the space down the inside and goes for it. When will Noah get his nose stuck in, though? Will it potentially be going into Club? Will it potentially be going into Vale? Let's see. As you go into the corner, and he goes down the inside into Vale. Committed move there from the Mercedes as he gets up into P6. Oh, but ELYAS has controlled the sprint beautifully. A very unorthodox strategy, I have to say, a medium to hard strategy, but he's made it work, and across the line, ELYAS will take pole for the Silverstone Grand Prix. Reese has been able to hold on to P2 there and will start alongside ELYAS. TECHUBI trying his hardest, but only good enough for P3, which is huge for the championship. Casper takes P4 and will start alongside TECHUBI. Noah holds on to P5. Supply Raptor does indeed get Samuel on pens. And now we do go trackside to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights. And it's go, go, go for the Silverstone sprints. And I do think the Mercedes does get off the line pretty well there. And again, Casper, though, and TECHUBI making the overtake on the Aston Martin. The Aston Martin with a horrific start there. Already down into P4. Casper into P2. TECHUBI into P3. But TECHUBI, can he try and make a move on the Ferrari? No, he can't. Now Noah goes down the inside of the Aston Martin. Cannot make the overtake. And RevRob having a bit of a battle with Epic OJ. Epic OJ forced off the track there. So does Epic OJ as well. And can Suzuki Dior and Samuel get in on this as they are about to go 4 wide there. 3 wide now going into that corner. The V-Cup getting very close to the McLaren. And the Haas now trying to make his move around the outside. Can the Ferrari get in on this as the Ferrari now tries to go down the inside of the Haas but unable to make it. Epic OJ stays in P7. Sorry, Suzuki Dior stays in P8. Samuel stays in P9. And I think that is going to survive, or that is going to be the end of that one. RevRob here will try and make a move on Noah going into Stowe. And he is going to go around the outside. Can he keep that, though? Can Noah position his car brilliantly and defend that as they are still going to remain side by side into Vale? But RevRob does indeed get... Oh, he actually goes deep there. Never mind. Supply Raptor has smashed into the pit there, I think, and does retire from the session. RevRob pushing Epic OJ off a little bit there, and RevRob stays in P6. He was momentarily in P5, but he goes down into P6. Epic OJ stays in P7. As Epic OJ tries to send it back down the inside of the McLaren, and I think Epic OJ might be able to save that, but I'll tell you what, RevRob is still trying to fight this round the outside, and I think he might actually have the better straight line speed, but into Brooklands, and I think Epic OJ keeps that, but has RevRob gone for the switchback, and he is going to get another switchback going into Luffield, but can he get that through Woodcuts? Obviously, Cops Corner is usually the next overtaking opportunity, but we saw what happened in 2021 with a Mercedes and a Red Bull, and nothing happens on that occasion. TECHUBI with the DRS. Is he going to try and make a move on Casper, though, going into Luffield, and he is going to pull to the outside, latest on the brakes, but can Casper hold that down the inside? He will have the outside for Luffield, but I think he will probably get the better grip, but TECHUBI still down the inside, still side by side on the exit, going through Woodcuts, and TECHUBI does indeed get that position on the Ferrari. The Ferrari can still maybe try and get it at some point though, but Reese as well. Oh, as TECHUBI has a moment, as he's actually fully spun there, and you don't see TECHUBI make many positions there like that, and he's going to lose all the way down into last position. That is huge for the championship. Casper now back into P7. Suzuki Dior as well down the inside of Epic OJ. Epic OJ trying the switch back there. Will he be able to get it? No, he can't. He's still going to try and make a move though. Down the inside, going into Vale. And I'll tell you what, Suzuki Dior manages to hold that, but he goes a bit wide. Will that allow Epic OJ down the inside, going into club corner? Yes, it does. A bit of contact there, I think. But can Epic OJ hold that going into Abbey? They're still side by side and now into Farm. And I think Epic OJ has got that move done, but Suzuki Dior holding it round the outside, going into Village. And TECHUBI also making the move on Quartz. And still side by side between Epic OJ and Suzuki Dior. Is TECHUBI going to try a double switch back here? No, he can't. Will he still get a move down the inside or a wheel down the inside of Epic OJ? No, he can't. Suzuki Dior back into P7. TECHUBI diving down the inside will get the move on Epic OJ. Quartz and Epic OJ now going side by side, and I think Quartz has been able to get that, but he's going to go around the outside and will try and get the move on the McLaren as well. The McLaren keeps it in P8 there, but Quartz as well getting the move on Epic OJ. Very nice and tidy through there. Basically similar timing, maybe about 3/10 now. Is TECHUBI going to pull to the outside, going into Stowe? Yes, he does. And I'll tell you what, TECHUBI makes the overtake even before the braking zone. Will Reese look for a move down the inside there, going into Village? But no, he doesn't. Will he try and look for an overtake or a switchback through the loop? He did try and think about a switchback, but just doesn't have the exit speed required. But he does go down the inside, down the Wellington straight, and he is going to have the inside going into Brooklands. Can the Aston Martin get the overtake? The Ferrari goes a bit wider, looking for the switchback. Can't get it into Luffield. He makes a bit of contact on the Aston Martin going into Luffield, but the Aston Martin stays in front to submit your time trials. And here we go. The two McLarens doing as I suggest, swapping positions, and TECHUBI gets up into P4. And now it's just a case to see how long it takes him to get past Casper and Reese. TECHUBI back on the ERS button. Casper, let's see what his speed is going to be, about 198. TECHUBI holds it down the inside though, latest on the brakes, and TECHUBI gets up into P3. That was a very committed move there from TECHUBI. Brakes latest, gets up the inside and gets up into the podium positions after that spin. A very good recovery drive from himself so far, and he is a lot closer. TECHUBI then pulling to the inside down the Wellington straight and is already passed before the braking zone of Brooklands, and TECHUBI back up into P2 despite that earlier spin. But really at the moment he hasn't lost anything due to that spin. Back up into P2. A bit of a management. Oh, as I say that, Suzuki Dior gets the move on RevRob. RevRob's got a puncture on the front left, 14 lap old hards. And that is every division this week getting a puncture. Has Casper gotten a puncture as well? No, he doesn't. He just gets overtaken. But RevRob with a puncture on that front left. He's going to have to do an entire lap with that front left tyre completely deflated, going off the track as well into Luffield. And it's going to be very hard for him to get that back to the pits. What a drive this man has produced, as he is going to be extending his gap in the championship lead. It was 9 and it's going to be even more despite TECHUBI having a late spin, recovering to P2, but ELYAS across the line to win the British Grand Prix. TECHUBI with an amazing recovery drive takes P2, and Reese takes the final podium positions in the British Grand Prix, finishing P3. Noah then will finish as he slides through club corner, finishes in P4, but with his time penalties, Casper retakes P4 there. Samuel will be the next driver to cross the line. No penalties for him. He will cross P6. Suzuki Dior, though, I think he's got a front left puncture as well on the final lap, basically recreating Lewis Hamilton. Can Quartz get it? He does, but with penalties, Suzuki Dior retakes it literally in the final few seconds. RevRob, unfortunate puncture for him, but let's see if he can get that fastest lap. He's currently improving by 4/10. Let's see if he can take that fastest lap, currently a 27, as RevRob around the final corner. Will he take the fastest lap? Yes, he does, as RevRob finishes in P9.